Hey there, I'm Lindsay Dreyer, host of the Joyfulpreneur podcast, where I share tips, tricks, and strategies to help women entrepreneurs maximize joy and freedom in their lives and businesses. Let's dive into today's episode. I have Samantha Whisnant on today's episode, and we are talking systems, why you need them, and the 3 systems all business owners should have. Sam loves helping growing entrepreneurs set up systems so that they can organize and automate their businesses, hire and onboard their first team member with ease, and stay focused in their zone of genius as much as possible. Let's get to the episode. I would love to hear what you define systems as.
Yeah, systems are so fun. Said, I think no one ever. No, I'm just kidding. I think everyone who likes organization. Yeah, I was about to say you love organization, so you probably love systems. Me as well. But for the average person, I think they hear systems and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, boring.
Yeah, but no, I describe systems as it's the way how you do what you do. So already we're kind of living in systems like routines. If you have a business, you're already operating in systems. Even if you think, oh, I don't have systems yet. People come to me all the time. Yeah, I don't have systems in my business yet. And I'm like, okay, well, you're making money and you are doing business things. So yes, you have systems.
That's hilarious.
Are they optimized systems? Probably not. You could probably improve them, but they're still there. You just have to actually start viewing them as systems. And then that's when you can get to the place where you can actually use them and optimize them.
So would you say that systems are repeatable processes, like things that you're basically like repeating on a consistent basis?
Totally. Yeah. So I like to kind of compare it to like a routine. So like your morning routine is kind of your system of getting up in the morning. So you brush your teeth, maybe you make a cup of coffee, you meditate, you journal, whatever you do that you're just doing all the time. And it becomes second nature to you. You don't even really think about that type of thing. Or your drive to work, it's all like this routine. And it's almost your default of the way you're doing things. And so that's why whenever you can look at those default things as systems and you can improve them, your default becomes better, right? You can rely on your bare minimum when your bare minimum is like optimized to how you run your business and everything. So yeah, repeatable processes, how, a task gets done from start to finish, anything that's going on in your business, how you are doing it from A to Z.
I love that analogy of comparing it to routines in your personal life, because that totally resonates with me, where I do something on autopilot, but that's because I have a good system for it in my personal life. And so we're trying to get to that point in your business where it's repeatable, it's consistent, it's just getting done. All right, so let's talk about why you need them. Why do business owners need systems in their business?
Like I said, it's you're already using them, you already have them. So it's really about optimizing them. And so you can actually do more while doing less. I had a yoga class last week or the week before. And in the class, my yoga teacher kept saying, if you want to hold this for longer, you have to do less. And obviously she's talking about the yoga pose that we're holding, but it related so much to me with business and with systems, especially because the more you want to do in a business, the less you have to actually do, right? It's not like the bigger our business gets, our capacity for time grows and our capacity for clients just naturally grows along with us. It grows because we have systems in place that allow it to grow and allow things to be on that autopilot, and allow, content to get made without us, or clients to get onboarded without us actually physically having to, manually go in and do anything. And so anytime before you start something new or you want to do something new, it's like you need to look back at what do you currently have and how can you optimize that to create more space for that new thing so you can have the time to actually do that.
So systems are basically helping you leverage your time. Like it's giving you, putting more into the time that you have in your day.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's kind of like productivity. And it allows you to get more done in less time, or, without any time at all, especially with automation these days. Like you can, I think, automate almost anything. Not that you should automate everything, but there are huge parts of your business that you can automate. And it's not even about saving you time. I think it's also about providing your clients or, your customers a better experience overall with them working with you. If they get those like automated touch points and really personalized, it can be personalized and automated at the same time.
Oh, I love that. You have 3 systems that we're going to be talking about today. We have content processes, so systematizing your content, client onboarding, and email marketing. Let's go ahead and dive into the first one, content processes. So what does it mean to actually systematize your content creation? I'm dying to hear the answer to this one.
Yeah. So with content, I think that's something that people don't think it's a system at all. And I didn't for a long time. But with working with, over 50 clients now, content is like the number one time suck in a business, especially when you're first starting out, because you are creating so much content for Instagram. And if you have a podcast or YouTube or whatever, it's like the driving point of your business, especially at first. And so systemizing your content really means like defining the actual process that your content creation is going through. So if your main content creation platform is Instagram, okay, most people, maybe you wake up one day and you're like, okay, I'm going to post today and I need to maybe film a reel or I need to write a caption, and it takes you 30 minutes or an hour. And, you're like, oh, maybe it doesn't take that long, but it is taking time out of your day. And it just feels like a lot, like it's a lot of energy to devote to it. And then there have like the people that come along that are like, oh, batch your content, it'll make everything better. And then you try to batch your content and you're missing the key piece of actually systemizing it. Because when you try to batch your content and you're trying to like record a reel and edit it and then write the caption and then, do hashtag research or whatever all in one go, that's going to take forever. And it's an energy suck. And so when you systemize your content, you're looking at the process. So I'm talking about like micro steps, like idea, recording, editing, writing. And then we're actually grouping those processes that allow you to go into like a flow state. So you can actually have like productivity around the content. So instead of spending 3 hours creating 3 pieces of content for the week, it's like, oh, let's spend 30 minutes, brainstorming ideas. Let's spend, 45 minutes writing, 5 captions from those ideas. So you can actually break down the process and then go in, have the flow state. And then later on, if you want to outsource parts of this, it's so much easier to outsource something that you already have broken down and you already have a system around, because it's like, okay, hey, let me bring in someone to help with the video editing. Okay, easy peasy. I've done all this. Here's your part of the editing. And then I'm going to pick back up where you left off.
Okay. I don't know if you're down for this, but I would love you to walk us through a real life example. So let's take a podcast episode and let's go through how we can systematize a podcast episode. So you and I are interviewing today.
Yes.
We record it. We have the raw audio. What do we do?
So from here, which I will say your prep to this podcast episode was really great. I loved like your podcast prep. So definitely don't
thank you.
This out. But I think even before the interview, it's like reaching out, you have the application. And then if you do decide to interview, or when you decide to interview someone, reaching out and getting all their details of, okay, I need a headshot, I need a bio, I need, links that you want to put in the show notes, all of those things. So making sure you have those, that's kind of like the pre-step, the actual interview step. And then after this, you're definitely going to need to record your intro. There's going to be editing, I'm sure. And then there is going to be show notes writing. So that's already, 3 steps after this. Maybe there's a review process for the show notes. Maybe, I don't know if you listen to the podcast again for review, or if you're just like, let the team do that. And then the scheduling. So that's 5 steps. And then there's all of the post-show promotion. So once it goes live, okay, probably reaching out to the guest. That's a 6th step, letting them know, hey, your episode's going to be live this day. Here's like the links. Here's, if you have like, some people send like social stuff to share, your own promotion on your own page, making sure all of that stuff is ready. So there's so much that goes into it, and it would be so challenging to do this all by yourself. Like it'd be very, very time consuming. And you want that process to stay the same throughout every episode, right? Like you wouldn't post this episode edited and then the next episode, oh, I just didn't edit it today, or I didn't include the intro today. Like you want to make sure this all goes step by step by step. So it's very consistent across all episodes and you're not missing anything. And it's not like the day before and you're like, oh, I forgot to
Right.
edit the episode. Oh, I forgot to write the show notes. Oh, I forgot to reach out to the guests. Like that's why when you have those systems in place, it's so much easier to keep track of it and you don't have to think about it really. It becomes
As you were
like automated
talking,
thing.
it's basically my checklist for this podcast. So we're on the same page.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I figured you have a checklist. A good in-depth one.
I think that it's like going back to like what's a system, it goes back to it's a checklist. And it's basically a checklist that once you're tired of executing the whole thing yourself, you start taking little pieces of the checklist and delegating it to other people. And so when you have systems, you can start delegation. I really think that is like a key piece is if you don't have systems or checklists or processes, standard operating procedures, if you don't have those things, you're not able to delegate. So hear this, everyone who's listening, if you are doing too much and you want to start outsourcing, your success depends on checklists. This is where I've seen people totally fail when they try to outsource. They're like, I need a virtual assistant. And it's like, what are you having the virtual assistant do? And they're like, I just need one. And I'm like, well, first you have to define your processes and then figure out where they fit into your process. And I just think people don't get that.
No, and I'm laughing because I talk about this all the time. I think I literally talked about this like last week in an Instagram post about before you hire a team, you need systems. And I will have people DM me and they're like, oh, I'm so busy. My business coach told me to hire a VA and I hope it works out. And I'm like, if you're hiring someone, you should not be hoping it works out. You should know that it's going to work out. And honestly, most of the time, it has nothing to do with who you hire. Like, yes, there are scammy people and stuff out there. But if you have those systems in place and you have a good hiring process, you will attract a good person. You will find a good fit. But you need that stuff in place first, because otherwise, like you said, you don't even know what you're going to be hiring for. You're going to be like, oh, I'm busy. This content is taking me too long. And then someone's going to come in and they're going to be like, okay, what can I do? And it's like, oh, well, actually, I don't really know. Maybe try this. There's no SOP around it. There's nothing for them to follow along with. And then it's like, then they're like doing their best. There's mismanaged expectations. You're probably disappointed in their work because there was not like those expectations clear before. And then they're probably frustrated as well because they're trying their best and they're trying to do their job, but they don't have the information they need. So systems definitely help with that.
Yeah, that was a sidebar, but I think a very important one. Let's move on to our second system, which is client onboarding. I love this one. So why is having a streamlined client onboarding experience so important, and why would it make you more money?
Because you're saving a lot of time when you have a streamlined client onboarding experience. So you are able to actually take on more clients whenever you have that set up, when it's all automated. And I think the biggest key to this is when it's so super streamlined, super automated, your clients are going to be happier. There is not going to be mismanaged expectations. There's not going to be buyer's remorse. You have things in place that are setting your clients up already to succeed, even before they maybe get on the first call with you or whatever. You can set things up that are like already blowing their expectations away. So they're going into the program like, yes, I'm ready to go. And whenever you have these high level systems in place, you can raise your prices. You can make more money. You can charge, 5 figures for a coaching program or whatever, whatever your goal is to charge. You can't do that if you don't have the high level systems in place to back you up, because that's when you start to get that buyer's remorse in place. I think also it's a bit of imposter syndrome for us. I have some clients that come to me and they tell me like, I want to raise my prices, but I know that my package is a mess. And, and I don't feel comfortable doing it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, let's set it up. So yeah, so that's how you can make more money. by saving more time, taking on more clients, and ultimately being able to raise your prices and provide a better experience for your clients overall. So they will actually more likely get results from that.
Yeah. As you're talking, I feel like it also just boosts your confidence to execute as a business owner, because you know that you're not just flying by the seat of your pants. You have a process that you're sending people through. One of the things when you're working with clients, I think this is all clients, is that our job as business owners is to remove fear and confusion. And
Yes.
the fear of, I messed up, I bought this product or I bought this service and it was a mistake. Like, you never want your client to feel that way. Or they're confused about like the onboarding process of like what's next? I just gave them my money. Like, what am I doing? And so I think with client onboarding, that's what that is. It's like you are removing fear and confusion for your client and making them feel so warm and fuzzy about working with you. And I just think that taking care of your clients from the get-go is so important. What tools are you using? Or maybe like walk us through a standard client onboarding checklist or system, and then maybe where the certain tools can fit in.
Yeah, I personally use Dubsado. I love Dubsado. There's also HoneyBook. That's another popular one. I'm definitely not a one tool fits all type of gal. Like, I would definitely want it to be personalized to people, but those are two very common ones that work for a lot of businesses. And in terms of like the standard system, so I think from whenever you have an application or a discovery call, having like those automated follow-ups of, hey, thanks for applying, like we'll be in touch with you within 24 to 48 hours. And I think the biggest key throughout this whole process is being super clear about the expectations and like communicating them to your clients. Like, do not be afraid to tell your clients like what to expect. I think sometimes, I know for me, when I first started out, I was like, oh, I want to just make sure my clients are happy. And I just wanted to be kind of vague with everything. But I think if you are just super clear of, hey, you can expect to hear back from me in 24 to 48 hours on business days, unless it's a weekend. If this is the right fit, I will send you a call link. If it's not, I will let you know. They get on a call, if it's a yes, sending the proposal, letting them know, hey, this, I need an answer by XYZ. If they need a bit of time to think about it, that's totally fine. But I think just setting those expectations super clearly will help you manage your clients better. And then having those automations to just send a contract, send an invoice. A lot of times for payments, I like to use a checkout tool instead of Dubsado or HoneyBook, just because it's way more automated and you can just do a lot more with it on the back end. One less thing to kind of worry about. And then one other tip that I love to share is just whenever they're paying for something, what can you send them right away after they pay that will like get them excited for working with you? So maybe it's like a free PDF and it's like, kind of a surprise thing. Like maybe you're not telling them like, oh, you're going to get this, but then it's like, hey, here's my free ebook, or here's this free workbook. Like, I want you to go ahead and start working on this, even though we don't have a call in, for 2 weeks or whenever you're starting. Like, go ahead and start working on this, or here's access to the course that's included in this program immediately. So you can already give them something to dive into, because like you said, if they're spending money and then they're thinking, okay, now what? Like, she hasn't contacted me or they haven't sent me anything, then it is that like nervousness. And then there's like that, oh, maybe I shouldn't, maybe this was a bad decision. But if you immediately have something coming in of like, here's what to expect. Here's what it's going to be like working together. I'm so excited. Here's access to this like surprise thing right away. Like, their expectations are going to be like exceeded at that point.
One of my favorite tools for client onboarding is Google Forms. Google Forms is my favorite thing on
Yes.
earth. It's easy. It goes to a Google Sheet. You can zap it into what you need. It's so primitive, but it's one of my favorite things to use because it's just really flexible and it's free and it's easy. But yeah, those little opportunities to like surprise and delight people, or definitely set expectations. I think as business owners, we have to control the process. And a lot of times we don't feel like we can. If you don't control the process, your client's going to put their own expectations on the process. And that's when I feel like clients get upset or they get confused and they're like, well, what did I like? This sucks. Like, I don't like, this isn't the experience I thought it was going to be. So definitely crafting the client journey and the client onboarding and how to make it as clearly communicated as possible is so, so crucial. So it's something I'm super into too. I love it. Are there any little like surprises or delights that you would be willing to share? Or do you not want to share your surprise and delight secrets with us?
Oh, I know. I'm more than happy to share. I think for me, like I love, uh, in terms of surprises and delights, like I love, like I said, giving people access to things right away that are included. So if it's a coaching program, one thing that we've recently done with one of my clients is it's like a live coaching program. So it's group calls and stuff, but then everyone that signed up, they immediately get access to a full, course selection in Kajabi, where
Nice.
they can immediately start working on, whatever. If they want to, if they want to dive in, they can. If they don't, whatever, cool, they can wait. I think anything like that, sending them, adding in any extra little thing that you think would be helpful if you're on a call with a client and you're thinking, oh, I think this would be super helpful. Like, I'm just going to throw this in as a bonus, and not in the sense of overworking to over deliver, but I think, if I'm doing a project for a client for setting up like an evergreen webinar, for example, then I will usually throw in like a metrics template build where I will like customize the metrics template for them and teach them how to use it and how for their team how to use it as well. And that's not something that I advertise or even like sell as part of the product, but it's something that takes me like 30 minutes and It's very useful for the client afterwards. And they love it. And they're like, oh, this is great. And like, now I can actually track how this webinar that you've built is doing.
Yeah. For listeners, I think it's just, what can you give them that's a little extra that they weren't expecting? And so it's like that little totally. Just like surprise of, oh my gosh, this is included. That's so cool. Or, oh my gosh, how thoughtful. You sent me something. That's so great.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, sending a little gift is always nice as well. Like if you have, shop box or happy box, anything like that is always a nice touch.
Yeah, I love getting a little client goodie box. Those are my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let's move on to third system, email marketing. Oh boy. So my first question is, do you have to have a list of like 1,000 people to email market?
No, I wish I had a list of 1,000 people, but I don't. But I always recommend starting your email marketing system ASAP. I work with a lot of business owners that are a bit newer to business, like they're just starting to get traction and they're growing, and maybe they've had a lot of success, through referrals or on Instagram, and they don't have an email list. And I'm like, you need to put in an email list right now, because this is the perfect time, even if you're not even sending out newsletters and you don't even know what you would say to these people, just get them on a list, because you will want it in the future.
At some point.
At some point, you will want to send them something, and then they will not be there. And so, yeah, I think that's just one of those key systems that it's like, these three systems, they all kind of revolve around, your ability to make more money, right? Like, producing content is going to get you more visible, and that's ideally going to make you more money because it's going to bring in more clients or sell more courses. Client onboarding, you're going to be able to raise your prices. Email marketing is the same. You're getting such a more valuable, genuine connection with your audience with an email list through emails. You can't really trust an algorithm. As much as I, love scrolling TikTok, nothing on my TikTok is business related. Like, I will tell you right now, if you have a business TikTok, you're not on my feed, even though I'm a business owner. So you can't trust an algorithm to like sell your products for you. That's why I think email marketing is such a key thing to just put in place now. Even if you don't know what you're going to send people, you will eventually. You'll be hit with like the slap of inspiration one day, and you'll be like, yes, I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I started sooner than I thought.
So for getting emails into a system, that's what I always struggled with early on, was like, how do you get the emails from all of the different places that you're collecting emails into one place?
Yeah, you'll definitely want an email marketing tool. I love using Flowdesk or ConvertKit. Those are like my top two recommendations, because I think they're just easy to use. and they have great templates, especially if you feel like you're not techie, which is fine. You don't have to be techie to have this email tool. And you want this also be for a big reason for legal purposes. I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that it is illegal to just collect a Google spreadsheet of emails and then decide like, hey, one day I'm going to send out a mass Gmail to all of these, 200 people. That is illegal. So don't do that. You definitely want this like tool. So because of the privacy options and stuff like that. And you can upload all of the emails. If you do have a list of emails that you already have, you can just upload it directly here. You can create a landing page through these tools where people can insert their emails. That's what I did when I first started my email list. Was I created a little freebie, and I just started sharing it on social media. Hey, download my freebie, enter your email, through here. If you do have a multitude of tools that you're getting emails through, you can connect all those tools to your one email marketing tool. So I would recommend having like the email marketing tool as kind of the main hub. And then if you have like Kajabi or, Thinkific or wherever where people are buying stuff from, you can connect that through an integration or through Zapier, which is just like a information sharing tool, automation tool, and send those emails to your email marketing platform. And I do recommend also like segmenting people or tagging people as you get the information, just so down the line it just is nice to have that data so you can see what people are really interested in, who's downloading what freebie, who has bought, this product or this course. I think even if you're not sending newsletters, you can still collect information and collect the emails and collect the data for whenever you are ready to start potentially sell something down the line if you want.
What segments or tags do you feel like every business owner should have?
I think definitely any sort of freebie you have should have its own separate segment or tag, especially if you have a business that has kind of different pillars, I guess. So one of my clients is a fitness professional, and she has a health freebie that's all about nutrition, and then she also has a fitness freebie. And so we promoted both of them for like a few months, and then we went back and actually looked at, okay, which one had the most downloads, and then from there we were able to be like, oh, the fitness one did, so let's go ahead and create a product around fitness, because that seems like that's the most interested in what you're that seems like that is what your audience is most interested in. So I think any sort of freebie, any product that you're selling, if you have a digital product or a course, tagging people who buy that. I think tagging people you can also tag people who click links. So I think that's super interesting. If you have a, sales email sequence, tagging those people who keep clicking that link, like an interest tag of, okay, maybe they're not buying it now, but maybe they would be interested in buying it in 3 to 6 months. Any sort of wait list, I think, is also super important. Basically, anything that you are promoting into the world, I would just create a tag around it because you can use the data.
Yeah, I love that. I think a lot of people get so wrapped up in what is the right tag, what is the right segment.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
totally.
Just over tag, over segment. It
just always
matter.
Tag.
They're free.
There is no wrong tag. Like I will tell you now, there is, and you can always delete it. Like if you're like, oh, I made this tag 2 years ago and this has nothing to do with what I'm doing now. Right. Okay, great. Delete it. Like it's fine.
I'll have a tag for their last name starts with D. I don't care. Like just throw them all on there. Like you just need all the tags. Yeah, you should see my tag list is out of control. I bet there are a lot of people who listen to this and are like, okay, Lindsay and Sam, no. They're just like, I don't think so. If someone is not like a tech or systems nerd like us, what do you recommend they do to get started?
I think the number one thing I tell people is to just remember, like, tech is a skill. It's not a talent-based situation over here. I will tell you, I actually graduated from university with a biochemistry degree, and I barely knew how to use Microsoft Word. Like I could write a paper in Microsoft Word, and I could barely make a graph in Excel for my labs. So, and now that I am working online, I've been working online for almost 4 years, and I do automations and systems. It's a very big 180, but it's something that I've learned and I've just developed through, my own. But I think you don't have to be a tech wizard, you don't have to be an automation expert to get started. I think it's really just remembering that it's a skill. You can learn a skill. The point of skills is to develop them, and you really just need to know the basics. So don't go into it overwhelmed, like, okay, I want to use Dubsado. Now I have to be a Dubsado certified expert to use this in my business. No, it's okay. You just really need to know how to like send a contract and an invoice. Like, let's just work on the basics here.
That's really hard for entrepreneurs. We always want to like attack the whole thing like at the same time.
Yeah, like it's like you want to be it. It's like you want to be the best at it, right? Like you're like, I'm going to be the top person. And, it's okay if you're not. It's okay. I'm not a graphic designer. That's my worst probably skill that I have. I'm not even trying to develop that skill anymore. Like, it's okay.
I think that's very brave of you to admit that. That's really great.
And it's fine. And now I am at the point where I have people that help me with that. And that's the other thing. If this is really something that you are like, man, I just don't even have the time to learn how to do it, it's okay to hire help. It's okay to, bring someone else in and to build it out for you and then, teach you the basics of what you need to know. That's also fine. It's just kind of identifying where you want to, put your energy into it. But I do think as a business owner, I will say you should know how to do like all the basic things in your business. So that includes, sending a contract, sending an invoice. If you don't know how to do those things, then you might get stuck down the line.
You're probably never getting paid, and that is a problem.
Yeah. Or you're always relying on, your VA or whoever on your team to send things, and then, they're on vacation for 2 weeks, and yeah, now you're screwed. These systems, they help you just show up like more presently in your business day to day. And like you said, they help you enjoy the day to day more, because I think as entrepreneurs, we can get so bogged down in just the day to day admin and to dos. And, you can be in the middle of a client meeting and then think of 5 things that, I forgot to do that. And forgot to send that. And, I need to remember to do this afterwards. And you're not even present when you're like talking one-on-one with someone. And so if you're experiencing this kind of like drudgery of like, brain fog and just all of these random tasks, or what happens to me is I'll be laying in bed at night, like right before I go to sleep, and I'm like, I forgot to, send this Slack message.
That's when it always happens when we're falling asleep. It's oh shoot, I need to do this.
Yeah. And so when you have these systems in place, though, it just like reduces that so much, because you know that things are happening even without you. Like you're not the person who has to do every single thing in the business. You have automation that's doing it for you. And then also, like you said, it allows you to hire and bring other people in that are also helping you, run the business and grow.
And that is the ultimate freedom. That's the hack.
Yeah, totally.
That's how entrepreneurs get freedom, is they leverage their time through systems, and they can make money and get things done when they're not working, which is amazing. What is one book that changed your life?
You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero is the first book actually that I read, like that was kind of like woo vibes. And I think I was like 20 when I read it, and I was like, wow, this girl's onto something. This girl is onto something. And that opened me up to a whole world of, you can kind of take control of your life, and it's, your life, and you can choose what you want to do with it. And that ultimately, after I finished college, obviously I have a biochemistry degree. I am not doing that anymore. But it was that mindset that really led me to believe that I could, start a business online and learn how to support entrepreneurs as they grow their online businesses as well.
What is your key to living your joyful entrepreneurship?
Ooh, I love this question, by the way.
Thanks.
I think for me, this is like knowing when to solve problems and then knowing when to let things be. I think that's a very fine line that you kind of walk, especially as an entrepreneur, because we try to control so much of entrepreneurship and so much of what is happening in our business, having that like sense of, okay, this is something that I can control and this is something that I can change if I really want to, or, you know, this is something that I just need to let go and let it be and, you know, accept it and do my best with it.
I love that. Sometimes you can make something better. Sometimes you can make it amazing, but do you really want to put in the energy to do that? Because isn't what you have right now enough? Like, isn't what you have right now working? I do think so many entrepreneurs are so driven and they want to take on the world, but there really is this skill that you have to build of discernment of, I could do this, but I really don't want to right now. And maybe I will in the future, but like, I need to just like make sure my plate is manageable. So like, I'm with you. It's balance. Like that is the entrepreneur's
totally
dilemma.
Balance.
Yeah. We have to just learn like, balance.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's like also, you know, I tell my clients it's like, you can do it, but should you be doing it? Like, and that kind of ties in with delegating as well. Like, just because you can do something, like, yes, you did build this business. Yes, you did make a sales page on Kajabi one time, but like, is that really the role that you want to fill right now that is going to move the needle? I don't think so. So, you know, let's focus on what's actually going to help you in the long run and what's actually going to push you towards your goals, not just like the more busy admin type work.
How can our listeners find you if they want to stalk you, work with you, all of the good things?
You can stalk me whenever you want. I love being stalked. You can find me on Instagram at SamWhiz. It's SamWhizz. My page is very stalkable. And I also have a free systems quiz that's linked there. That's systemsofsam.com/quiz. If you are listening to this and you're like, maybe systems are not that boring, then that's a good place to start.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was such a great conversation, Sam. I appreciate having you on today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It's always super fun to talk with someone who gets it.
Before I let you go, I wanted to let you know that I have a 5-day Spark Joy Challenge, and it is totally free, available on my website. You can go to joyfulpreneur.link/podcast. The link is also in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to the Joyfulpreneur podcast. Remember to check the show notes for all the links and resources mentioned in this episode. Your reviews also mean the world to me. If you're enjoying the podcast, please leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Until next time, stay joyful.